For science, we need to test out Stoneforge Mystic. Hey everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and with Stoneforge Mystic unbanned, everyone was wondering, Nikachu, can we play this thing in Modern Merfolk? Well, let's find out. If you want to see how Merfolk evolves and can test all the new cards in the modern metagame, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Before we get into our deck tech, we're going to thank our sponsors, themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering, and the MTG Mastermind, the coaching service to help you take your game to the next level. You're going to want to check out the MTG Mastermind. And lastly, I'd like to thank Card Hoarder for lending us the cards necessary to play this deck. We got Deputy, love Card Hoarder. Card Hoarder, your top, what is it? Magic the Gathering Online Mercantile. So this is Stoneforge Mystic in Modern, and the question is, can we play this in Modern Merfolk? And I was very enthused. Like, I actually have Stoneforge Mystic and Sword of Fire and Ice and Batterskull in my inventory because I experimented with Stoneforge Mystic in Legacy, and unfortunately I didn't find the build to really make it work. But let's see what we can do in Modern. Let's see if Modern changes anything. And certainly one concern I have with the build of this list is I hope I'm not over-adjusting with this build. I mean, it would be one thing to just splash Stoneforge Mystic in a stock list, but I'm trying out a lot of new things in here, as we'll see. So Stoneforge Mystic enters the battlefield. You can look for, by default, you can get Batterskull, but situationally you can get the other swords, like Sword of Fire and Ice, which is, in this case, a way of repeatedly dealing damage to our opponent or to creatures, and also drawing cards. I don't know what is the default sword that should be in the main deck for Merfolk, but Sword of Fire and Ice is sort of a good reliable way of accumulating card advantage, and is a reliable way of dealing damage, racing other decks. We also have in the sideboard Sword of Light and Shadow, which I guess is just going to be another card I'm going to bring in as I take out other cards. Like, Stoneforge Mystic isn't going to be what I want against every deck. It's just going to be what I want against things like Jund and Blue-White Control and Grixis Death Shadow. So this is not going to be the card I want to use to race against other archetypes. But then when we know we're not in a racing mood, we can bring in Sword of Light and Shadow to help grind against other decks, because we gain life and we can return a creature card from our graveyard to our hand. Any creature card, anything, we can take anything. Sounds great. So mana base, I am playing with my typical mana base right now with just the 2 Mutavaults, which means the deck is a little threat light. We're playing with less Mutavaults, but there's still enough decks in the metagame where I just want to curve out to a kill, like against Tron, like Urza were against Affinity, and so on. So I do want to play with 18 blue sources, and I hope that Stoneforge Mystic makes up for not having a threat-dense deck without Mutavaults or Silvergill Adepts. I hope I have enough white sources. I have 14 white sources between the Wanderwine Hubs, the Seachrome Coast, the Hollowed Fountains, and 4 Flooded Strands. We're going to play with, so we've got our usual suspects, Benthic Biomancer, 12 Lords for power, and Merfolk Trickster for creature interaction. But I want to try out Mistcloaked Herald, so I do want a few more 1-drops to have extra turn 4 kills. But Mistcloaked Herald, and a lot of people are like, Nikachu, why don't we play Mistcloaked Herald? It's unblockable. But usually that's not enough. That doesn't mean enough in this deck. We can work towards unblockability with Lord of Atlantis and Master of the Pearl Trident, but in an attrition-based war that we are now in against Jund, that might not be enough. And you know what? Even against the Blue-White Stoneblade deck, they can just path to exile the Island Walker and then start blocking the creatures that we have. So Mistcloaked Herald, by itself, just being unblockable, isn't worth it. But what if we can attach a Batterskull to Mistcloaked Herald and guarantee that unblockable damage? What if we can attach Sword of Fire and Ice and guarantee that unblockable damage? Now all of a sudden, Mistcloaked Herald looks a lot more interesting. So I don't want to play with too many, but I do want to experiment with Mistcloaked Herald, see if it has any synergy with Stoneforge Mystic. We've got 3 Force Negation, 2 Spreading Seas here, 2 Spreading Seas in the sideboard. Deputy of Detention is incredibly good. It's a very, very, very good card, so I'm very happy to try to play this in the Mono Merfolk deck as just an extra piece of interaction. Basically an upgrade from Harbinger of the Tides or Tidebinder Mage. A little clunky, costs 3 mana, but is just way more effective. Can take anything from the battlefield. Is an improved version of Echoing Truth or any of those bounce spells. So Deputy of Detention, definitely a reason to be splashing white. It's we're definitely one of the stronger spells. And we're playing an extra one in the sideboard if necessary. I think I basically got through the main deck. We're going to run some Path to Exiles for, Death Shadow, even Jund. We don't care about... Spreading Seas is actually losing a lot of ground. Thanks to Wrenn and 6, it's harder to mana screw your opponent, so Path to Exile actually starts to look more and more appealing as we are... As Modern seems to evolve. Curse Catcher is basically dead, so without Curse Catcher in the deck, Path to Exile, we don't worry about our opponent gaining more mana. The only thing that still sucks about Path to Exile is we give our opponents more mana and they can now start playing 2 things on 1 turn, so that still is a concern, but I think Path to Exile is still a fine card to bring in against Jund, against Death Shadow decks. I probably would not bring this in against Tron. Rest in Peace for any graveyard decks. Stony Silence I think is a premium card. I would rather have it be Collector Oof, because Collector Oof can attack, but Stony Silence is very necessary, I think, against Tron, against the Affinity decks, both Hardened Scales and regular Affinity artifact decks are still out there. Sword of Light and Shadow, just as I just didn't see anything I wanted to cut in the main deck, so I'm just throwing this in the sideboard. 2 more Spreading Seas. Okay, so here's the cute thing. Let's experiment. So we're experimenting with Stoneforge Mystic. Let's also experiment with Spell Snare. And people for the last, I don't know, ever since I had this channel, people are always asking me about Spell Snare. Can we play with Spell Snare? Why not Spell Snare? We can hit Cranial Plating with Spell Snare. Well, the metagame was diversified enough that Spell Snare didn't really seem to have it didn't seem worth it. And I don't know, maybe it still isn't worth it, but there are now more targets at 2 mana than ever before. For example, against Jund, I think one of the more concerning cards is actually Wrenn and 6. I think that card is very hard to beat if you don't kill it immediately, and it comes out really fast. It's out there on turn 2. It will start gaining a lot of value for the Jund deck. Just repeatedly bring back those fetch lands, draw more cards with cycle lands. It's incredible card advantage. Spell Snare is able to deal with that. Now, that's not the only card in their deck that you can hit. You can hit Tarmogoyf, you can hit Assassin's Trophy, you can hit Scavenging Ooze. So there's more bulk things at 2 mana, but more important things at 2 mana, specifically the Wrenn and 6, to hit with Spell Snare. Now you look at the Stoneblade decks. The cards most important, Stoneforge Mystic and Snapcaster Mage. So that's also those are also a good combination of cards to hit with Spell Snare. Not to mention, I guess we'll bring it in against Affinity, although I'm not really thrilled about doing that because holding up 1 mana against Affinity is just not usually a winning plan. But it does hit enough card, like Arcbound Ravager, for example, Cranial Plating. What else does it hit on Hardened Scales? It hits enough things. So Spell Snare is definitely Steel Overseer, for example. So there are enough things to hit with Spell Snare. So let's experiment with this. If Blue-White Stoneblade and what's it called? If Blue-White Stoneblade and Jund are going to be big decks. Oh! I forgot about Cavern of Souls. This is all caps. Let's take out some islands. I do want some Cavern of Souls. I think that's important. I still have enough blue. So yeah, I have plenty of blue sources. Plenty of blue sources. No problem there. Okay, got Cavern of Souls. So the point is, let's try it. Let's see what happens. If not, this should have been deprived. That's all. All right, so this is the deck tech. Let's go try to play a league with Stoneforge Merfolk. So we won the die roll, and we have a decent hand. We're going to keep it. We're already going to get our Stoneforge Mystic out. And we might even be able to protect it with the Force of Negation, so... Perfect starting hand. We're going to take a little bit of damage. We got one of our more painful hands here, but whatever. Oops, I'm stopping my upkeep. Oh, we're up against Burn? We are, okay. Deputy of Detention, not bad. So... So what I'm thinking right now is what is the fastest way to get a Batterskull in play? So we could play Stoneforge Mystic this turn, activate it, put Batterskull in play on our turn, but that doesn't guarantee that we do anything with it. We can't attack with it. On the other hand, I could play a Hollowed Fountain, I guess untapped. How do I want to do this? I do have Stoneforge Mystic available here. But I can't attack with it at all by next turn. And I don't have anything to do with what do the Ether Vial on 2. Well, I have some. I could do something with Merfolk Trickster. Okay, hold on. Okay, this turn, we don't do anything with Stoneforge Mystic. We get Batterskull. Next turn, we put Batterskull in play. Still can't attack with it. Then the following turn, we can attack. Whereas if we don't play Stoneforge Mystic here, we don't put Batterskull in play. We Vial it in next turn. Still don't get Batterskull in play. Okay, we can't. If we Vial in Stoneforge Mystic at end of turn, we still can't put a Batterskull in play. So I will play the Stoneforge Mystic this turn. So that's the problem. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Get the Batterskull, and hopefully that's gonna be the end of our Jund opponent. So we are gonna defend the Stoneforge Mystic with our life. We'll Force Negation this thing. Pitching Benthic Biomancer. Actually, we could have pitched the Deputy of Detention, I guess. Another Ether Vial on top. That's not great. And pass, I guess. Is that how this works? Is that how this works? Okay, I guess we let them attack. Oh, they want to attack. Okay, we draw a land. Put Batterskull in play. You may put an equipment card. I'm trying to. Done. That was concerning. So I guess they're going to use 2 removal spells here. What's the equip? 5? Oh, we're far away from that. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to play the Merfolk Trickster. And we're going to block. And now we're trying to... Oh, we can return the... Well, we can return the Batterskull back to our hand. We've got that line. Right? Okay, I'm going to tick the Vial up to 3. Well, I instantly regret that, but that's okay. So we'll return Batterskull back to our hand and try to replay it. And pass. And if it fails, then it fails. It doesn't matter. Like, equipping costs 5, recasting it costs 5. Everything's awkward. So now they've got to kill our Stoneforge Mystic, but they've already used a lot of resources that kill creatures. What does this mean? Eidolon? Are you gonna... Another Searing Blaze. That is ridiculously annoying. Okay, sure. It dies. It dies a horrible death. Now, I guess I'm just hoping to rip lands. Not bad, not bad. Show Merfolk, play Merfolk, play Ether Vial, and pass. Our opponent has a lot of draws to kill us, though. But if we draw one land, they'll be cooked. Oh man, we are living on the edge. They got this draw step. They can crack a Sunbaked Canyon. They have another draw step. Hopefully it's creatures. We can beat the creatures. They're digging. They have failed to find. Land? Not a land. This will be very embarrassing if I win without Batterskull. One land and it was over. Okay, we're dead. Alright, moving on to the sideboard. We can get more cards, but you know what? Like, should we just side out the package? Would that be smart? Nah, let's keep it. Okay, Batterskull is too good. So we're going to bring in Spell Snare, which is, I think, going to be very good against Burn, because it can hit, what's it called? It can hit Searing Blood, Searing Blaze, Smash to Smithereens, which are all coming in against our artifacts. So Sword of Fire and Ice doesn't look good, but Sword of Light and Shadow looks great, because we can repeatedly gain some life. Spraying Seas is going to be good. I don't think Path to Exile is worth bringing in. I also don't think Deputy of Detention is... Yeah, are we going to side out some of these Deputy of Detentions? I'll get rid of the Mist-Cloaked Herald. Maybe I'll even get rid of some Benthic Biomancers. Take out one... Maybe one Deputy of Detention. I'll keep the rest. We would have... I mean, what killed us in this game was actually just our 2 Flooded Strands at the beginning of the game. It looks subtle, but, like, the mana base killed us. The only 2 Flood... If we drew a Flooded Strand instead of 1 Hollowed Fountain, we would have been at 1 life higher, and likely would have won that game. Yeah, I don't think I won anything else. Hand was good too. We had a Vial. We had everything going for us there. This hand... This hand's awkward, but I'm going to keep it. It's awkward because if we keep tapping out, we can't use Spell Snare. It doesn't feel like a hand I want to throw away. It's got a decent chunk of threat density. So we'll see how it pans out. I probably just won't play anything next turn, though. Well, there's Batterskull. Not bad. I guess I'll show Mirror Regery. Make it look like my hand is really clunky. This also might make it look like our hand has, what's it called? Well, we have to counter that. It might look like our hand had Merfolk Trickster. Well, now I can play Mirror Regery. And next turn, if we... Well, I mean, it's probably going to die to millions of things, but then we can play Lord of Atlantis and attack with a Mutavault. Or at least we're on our way to, like, curve out with this Batterskull. So I feel like our opponent has, like, Searing Blood or Searing Blaze, and they were, like, testing the waters to see if that Lightning Bolt would resolve. But I think even if I had Force of Negation, I would not have countered it. Holy cow. Oh, okay, so something is going after our creature. Not a bad hand, not a bad hand. So we go down to a very low life total. And very likely I am going to try to chump block with this Lord of Atlantis, because I cannot afford to take any more damage this game. Wow, so many Sunbay Canyons. They're actually going to deal a lot of damage to themselves. Boros Charm. Oh, I'm just... Alright, we're just dead. We're just dead. Alright, burn is still good. Burn is still good. I don't know if that hand was worth mulliganing. Their hand was very good. Very mana efficient. Whatever. Lost to burn. That's what happens. It can happen. So that was round 1. Let's move on to round 2. We lost the die roll, and this hand is just very clunky and poor. We're going to mulligan. Hand has Stoneforge Mystic, so we're going to keep it. Stoneforge Mystic, good by itself. Keep. Oh, I have to throw something away. I guess the island, because Fledistrand can find a... Fledistrand will find a Hollow Fountain. Alright, they're gonna see Benthic Biomancer, Lord Stoneforge Mystic. Likely the Stoneforge Mystic is gonna kick the bucket. Looking back on that Burn match, it's like, it's annoying to have a much closer game against Burn now. Especially since they... Well, since we've, like, dropped Master of Waves, since I'm splitting Spreading Seizes, although maybe maybe all 4 Spreading Seizes can come back. Like, well, look, we're up against Jund, or I don't know if we're up against Jund. Maybe we're up against some sort of... Oh, now I have no idea what we're up against. Metamorphose. Some sort of Reanimator deck? Okay, our opponent's going after the... Probably the Stone... Well, I have no idea what they're going after. Okay, now they're going after Stoneforge Mystic. Maybe this is like the new version of Mardu Pyromancer? I don't know. Manamorphose in your black-green deck. Some sort of Grishol brand without Faithless Looting. Was this Blood Moon? Kolaghan's Command. Target player discards a card. That's fine. We have a card to discard. But we are running out of resources. Oh! Look what we have here! Not bad. Not a bad top deck. Okay, so what's the best thing to get here? Because our opponent could just kill the Stoneforge Mystic. We'll get the Batterskull anyway. But I don't know. I could be wrong here. Because if Stoneforge Mystic is just going to die, then Batterskull gets stuck in our hand. Yeah, this is Mardu. Seasoned Pyromancer. Alright, so this is the evolution. Pass. Cannot attack. Although Sword of Fire and Ice would not be too bad here. Protection from the red spells. Another Manamorphose. I guess, what's it called? I guess Faithless Looting is just replaced with Manamorphose. For whatever reason. Another Seasoned Pyromancer. How to get through all these elementals. Okay. We get Batterskull in play. Not that threatening looking on this board, though. Have to admit, not that threatening looking. That looks pretty good, but... Equipping this Batterskull onto any other creature looks very difficult. Oops. Undo, undo. Where do I even play this Spreading Seas? Our opponent has 2 cards in hand. So the issue is I can't attack with Batterskull because I think they'll just double block with the Seasoned Pyromancers. Then I don't have a Batterskull on the board. And then they start like making a bunch of 1/1s. But I gain some life and I get rid of these things. Okay, maybe let's attack. Oh, they're okay. Only 1 block. Okay, so we gain some life. That's nice. It's not bad. I guess we threaten to, like, I don't know, disrupt one of them. On one hand, I feel like playing the Spreading Seas to draw cards, but on the other hand, I feel like just adding to the board every turn also helps. Alright, so let's just keep adding to the board. And then next turn, if I draw a land, I can play Mararegery, and that will help quite a bit. Because getting the Merfolk to all 4 Manamorphoses, getting the Merfolk to 3/3s will help defeat Kolaghan's Command, or at least play around it a little bit. Right now, Kolaghan's Command is really good against us. It'll hit Lord of Atlantis and the Batterskull at the same time. Okay. That thing has flashback. That sucks. Bedlam Reveler. How to get through this deck. Alright, let's let's, I guess, start hitting some mana sources. What can I say? Stoneforge Mystic looks ridiculously underwhelming. I could trade this Germ for this Bedlam Reveler. I guess it's fine. That's also fine. Well, maybe not. Time will tell if that was an okay trade, but I'm gonna make it. So there's another Lightning Helix-like card on its way. Smiting Helix. Looks like Rest in Peace is gonna be good though. Okay, we take 6. We're definitely behind. There's no doubt about that. I'm just going to play this Ether Vial and hope that it's going to pay off in the next few turns. Keep my Stoneforge Mystic on blocking duty for this one elemental. So look, Mardu Pyromancer still doing its thing. Just replaced Faithless Looting with Manamorphose, it seems, but like nothing's changed. Deck is still doing fine. I guess the discard outlet now is Bedlam Reveler. Even though that was played in the original deck. So what is this going to be now? 6, 9, 10, 11? This is too much. This is too much. Well, that would have been useful a long time ago. I don't think... Okay, this doesn't really matter. We're dead. I can't even beat... I can't block enough stuff. So what do I want here? Sword of Light and Shadow looks okay. Deputy of Detention looks very good, just for sweeping up all the tokens. Spreading Seas is definitely good. Spell Snare good? I don't think so. Rest in Peace looks very good. Path to Exile looks very good. Maybe Sword of Light and Shadow is good. Equip 2? Yeah, equip 2. Gain 3 life, return 1 target creature card. No, actually, I'm not going to bring in, because I'm bringing in the Rest in Pieces. You know what? I'm not really impressed with Stoneforge Mystic in this matchup. Sword of Fire and Ice looks okay. But it still can get blown up. This Cloaked Herald looks weak. Sword of Fire and Ice doesn't look as bad as the other options because I can at least attack through the tokens. I want to trim some of my mana sources. So maybe we'll have some Stoneforge Mystics just to find the Sword of Fire and Ice. What can I counter? Oh, maybe the... Actually, you know what? Let's bring in the Spell Snares. Okay, screw the Stoneforge Mystic plan. Take out a Benthic Biomancer as well. Oh, I don't have that many creatures. That's interesting. So Spell Snare can hit Young Pyromancer, can hit Manamorphose. Well, I'm just flip-flopping all over the place. Whoops, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna have one Stoneforge Mystic in this deck. Whatever. Okay, we just go with it. But, like, this deck looks like it's really well equipped to beat a Stoneforge Mystic, because, I mean, they can bring in a lot of artifact hate, and they just have a lot of spot removal. Would you like to play first? Yes. Sure, keep. I do hate that card. I hate Inquisition of Kozilek in these matchups. Took my Trickster away, so it's going to be hard. I mean, I can't hold up Spell Snare when I'm playing my creatures. I guess I can't afford to just not do anything. Well, maybe I can, but I'm going to play a Master of the Pearl Trident here. Maybe I actually should have looked for an island. That might have been worth it. Instead of this Hollowed Fountain. Okay, so we're going to... I guess that's what I'm going to do with this Flooded Strand, because by doing that, I can play around Blood Moon a little bit. I'm not going to crack this. If I crack this, they can, in response, kill something. I will fetch now. I actually could have fetched at my upkeep, because I'm just looking for an island anyway. Sure. Guess they were playing around Force Negation. Is this the 4-mana Lightning Helix? It is. Okay, where's our Rest in Peace? All these Spell Snares look terrible. I keep playing creatures, though. Cannot counter Smiting Helix. That's for sure. I got 2 Spell Snares now. What are you going to do? It's interesting, they don't play their Smiting Helix. Gotta play a 2-drop at some point. But not necessarily. Okay, so here we play our Merfolk Trickster. Or maybe they've got, like, Young Pyromancers in their hand, and they're just like, we're just going to wait this out. Because they can wait for, like, Inquisitions of Kozilek before, to safely play their Young Pyromancers. But anyway, we're way behind. We need some card advantage spell to help us climb out. Deck is not really built to beat this. Well, okay, we have Rest in Peace. Rest in Peace goes a long way because it prevents our opponent from playing Bedlam Reveler. It also prevents them from getting extra value from Smiting Helix, which has Flashback in the graveyard. I can't counter that with Spell Snare because the Flashback cost doesn't matter. What matters is the casting cost. And casting cost is 4 mana. Okay, sure. Merfolk. I think I'm just going to pass the turn. I'll get hit by this Plague Engineer a few times. I'd rather just, pass Path to Exile it instead of Deputy of Detention, because this is just a soft answer. I really want to save Deputy for the token strategy, which might be held off by our opponent. These Smiting Helixes are a huge beating. Alright, we got a Mutavault, not bad. Not great. Not bad. Spreading Seas. I shall start seizing the white sources. We're at a virtual 8. Another Deputy of Detention. Okay, so I'm going to go to my second main phase. I guess we'll start playing these Deputy of Detentions. Oh, I should have named Wizard. I actually can't cast this Deputy of Detention and hold up the Spell Snare. Just playing casually and didn't even notice that. Alright, then we don't play it. Can we make use of our turn then? Attack for 1. Oh, I can't even attack for 1. This is stupid. I'm looking like a fool. Just trying to have some fun with the Stoneforge Mystic deck. Okay, I take another 2, so now I'm down to 6 because of the Smiting Helix in the graveyard. I could get burned out at any moment here. Alright, let's do this properly. I don't really have a very good way of winning this game. Like, my cards did not line up well at all. I mean, this Deputy of Detention is supposed to hit like 1 billion tokens, and no tokens have been generated at all. I mean, it's turn 12, and no tokens. Where are the tokens? Okay, we're going to let that resolve, because I have another Deputy of Detention. Okay, this one I guess I have to defend, but I don't like the idea that I have to tap out to play this Force of Negation, because then my opponent has like sort of the go-ahead to play their 2-drop spells, and I'm sure there is some sort of 2-drop spell here. 2 damage to any target. The target is me, and I have to discard a card? Okay, that's fine. I can discard Ether Vial. You gonna try to burn me out? Maybe. This is a very sad use of Deputy of Detention. This is like terrible. Okay. I can do nothing from this position. Just pass. Keep the land in my hand just in case they play Kolaghan's Command, make me discard something. Just like they did last time. I gotta protect this card. I'm not in a bad spot for like just to play Lords and try to win from here, but the problem is I've played a lot of Lords already. Well, there goes the Spell Snare. I predict a Young Pyromancer is about to be played. Or maybe they had no 2-drops, just that collective brutality. Maybe that's the story here. Okay, so they know everything that we have. Do you have like another Kolaghan's Command? When you played this... Oh, you dumped a Young Pyromancer through the Season Pyromancer. Alright, so... I'm guessing there's another Kolaghan's Command here. If I take 3, go down to 2... No, I'm just going to have to block. And hope it was a foolish attack, but I doubt it. I have, like, no room to play around anything. Yeah, okay, so, okay, we'll keep playing on a little bit, but it does looks pretty terrible. I'm gonna lose the Mutavault. The problem is if I take another damage, go down to 4, then Kolaghan's Command means I'm actually down to 2 life. Pass. So I can kill the Plague Engineer in combat. Okay. And I guess Season Pyromancer is just a fair version of Faithless Looting. Enters the battlefield, you discard 2 cards and you draw 2 cards. So they still got the Faithless Looting outlet. Okay, we're just dead. I'm not coming back from this. This looks like a brutal matchup. I'm not... Well, I don't think I'm beating... No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I'm not going to beat this. But the cards that I need to beat this were not drawn. Like Rest in Peace could have helped a lot to prevent the Smiting Helix coming back. I mean, that was good card advantage on their part. And then, I think the Spell Snare was garbage. They had Young Pyromancer in their hand probably forever. But so we did. I guess if anything, Spell Snare made the game go long, but it didn't feel like it was doing anything. Them playing the long game, just waiting for enough Thoughtseizes were good enough to play around Spell Snare. So Spell Snare actually ended up being garbage here. Maybe it was okay because it still exchanges with something, but I think we want to play more to the board than to keep things in our hand because to hopefully make these Thoughtseizes dead. But where's our sideboard cards? Where's the sideboard cards? Well, I mean, we did get the Spell Snare, but I sort of want Rest in Peace because that can shut down Bedlam Reveler, even though, well, I guess it wasn't relevant. And Path to Exile is a good answer to Plague Engineer instead of Deputy of Detention. All right, that was round 2. Let's move on to round 3. We won the die roll. We have a good hand. We're going to keep it. We can go turn to Stoneforge Mystic. So something I feel... the way I feel about Stoneforge Mystic right now is it is just not part of our game plan whatsoever. It has no business with the Merfolk game plan of making unblockable creatures. It's just proving to be like pretty poor overall. We'll try to protect a Stoneforge Mystic with that. Okay, we're up against what looks like Jund. We'll play... Yeah, we'll play Stoneforge Mystic. But like, I feel like I'm going to get undermined by Removal Spell. Yes, let's get a Batterskull again. They're going to play Removal Spell on our Stoneforge Mystic. Play like Renin 6 on their turn. Kill the Benthic Biomancer. Okay, no Renin 6 because they can't cast it off of the swamp. Okay, Tomagriff. I'm going to Spreading Seas, their green-red mana. And then next turn we can play, ooh, we have a lot of options by next turn. Anyway, I'm going to pass here. But I hope to play Lord of Atlantis and attack for 5. That's not pleasant. Okay, we'll let that resolve. Can't take the Batter Skull. Can take the Lord, though. See, like, even if we get this Batter Skull on the battlefield, is it going to do anything? Does it help? Our opponent feels like they can race us. Mistcloaked... Alright, we got some new cards here. Mistcloaked Herald on the way. But I don't think we're going to play Mistcloaked Herald. Instead, we're just going to attack for 3. Play our Flooded Strand and pass. We probably are going to use this Mistcloaked Herald to cast Force of Negation. Okay, Scavenging Ooze. Our opponent just walked into the old, like, the oldest trick in the book. We'll just get an island. Because, like, whatever spell, if they have a removal spell, it's just going to get lost. I mean, it won't resolve because we have Force of Negation. Okay, let's attack with everything. If Ooze blocks Benthic Biomancer, we pump it up. Maybe we pump it up anyway. Okay, let's make bigger creatures. Oh, not bad, not bad. Okay, discard Benthic Biomancer. So we got lethal on the board. Unless our opponent does something about it. Oh, they've done something about it. Only 1 green mana source. It's also a reason why I like to Spreading Seas the green sources now. It makes it harder for them to... Like, it's a pretty Golgari-like deck. I think the cleanest thing to do is just... we hit the Scavenging Ooze and attack for 6. They go down to 2, they can gain some life, but then they're probably not applying anything on the battlefield. Maelstrom Pulse would be pretty bad here. Alright, we win. Only because our opponent like punted really bad with the Tarmogoyf attack. So what do we want? We want Path to Exile, we want Rest in Peace. Let's see if Spell Snare is good here, and the Spreading Seas. Cards I don't want. I'm going to try to live without Force of Negation. I'm going to take away 2 Aether Vials and a Cavern of Souls. I don't know if I want to actually take out all the Aether Vials against Jund anymore. I have to take out 2 more cards. We'll take out Mistcloaked Herald. That seems like the worst card. 26 creatures. Is Light and Shadow good? Probably better than Sword of Fire and Ice, to be honest. Mistcloaked Herald, you probably should have been just Silver Gill Adept. Yeah, we can keep this. This is okay. Didn't really expect that. Alright, we'll play it. Well, no Ren in 6. Ren in 6 is quite a beating. Quite a beating. Took our spreading seizes. Ooh, Ether Vial. I'm going to play the Ether Vial instead of Master of the Pearl Trident. Makes it easier to play around a lot of spells. Easier to play around Ren and 6. Easier to play around Liliana the Veil. Easier to play around Maelstrom Pulse. A multitude of spells. The new Gen deck plays quite a bit at sorcery speed. Okay. A little short on white mana, but that's okay. Or sorry, short on blue mana. And I guess I'll play the Mutavault. So I'm going to play Spreading Seas. Just trying to figure out what I want to hit with it. I guess I really want to hit the green sources, but this is the only red source, so I might as well go for that one. And pass the turn. Liliana will tick up, we'll discard the Seachrome Coast, and then I'll attempt to attack our opponent with the Master of the Pearl Trident. Sorry, with the Island Walking Mutavault. Actually, I have a pretty cool, tricky line here. I have a tricksy line. Ooh, I have an even more tricksy line now. Okay, I'm gonna take my other line. So I'm going to play Master of the Pearl Trident, which is going to encourage my opponent to use the removal spell, not on the Mutavault, but on my Master of the Pearl Trident. And then after that, that's when I'm going to path to exile the Tarmogoyf. And hopefully my opponent has no other removal spells. Oh, they went for this one. Okay. Pretty smart line. Maybe they saw it coming, or maybe it's because they knew I have Path to Exile in hand. Each player discards a card. I don't want to discard any of these. This looks really good. Okay, we'll discard... Path to Exile. It's really hard. That was a really hard decision. Well, hopefully they didn't know we had Merfolk Trickster in our hand, so time to do this again. And we're going to double block the Tarmogoyf, which means even if they do have a removal spell, it doesn't really matter. One of these creatures is going to deal damage. That is nice. Okay, we'll attempt to kill... If not kill the Liliana, at least try to bring her down a peg. Okay, Liliana gets wiped off the board. Let's play a sword. We haven't even gotten a sword in play yet. That's interesting. The creature is more important than the Sword of Light and Shadow. Because it's just going to bring it back, right? Gain life, return creatures back to my hand. Protection from black and white, so you gotta do something now. Okay. I have nothing. Okay, so okay. So what we can do, though, this turn is activate and then protect. Does not protect against Liliana the Veil, but will protect against Assassin's... Well, I guess they can just Assassin's Trophy the Sword of Light and Shadow. Okay, then they're like, forget it! Not even going to try to beat this thing. So I think, in retrospect... Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm playing around more. This might be fine. It might be fine, but maybe it's not great. Alright, so we win the match. We win the match against Jund. Don't even need Silver Gilladept. We win the match against Jund, but our opponent just like threw their Tarmogoyf away into our Merfolk Tricksters. So that was round 3. Let's move on to round 4. We won the die roll, and frankly, this is like one of the best hands we've had because it's just a normal Merfolk curve. These Stoneforge Mystic hands have not turned out the way we wanted them to. Although that sword was okay. We did get Batterskull in play quite a few times so far. Another black deck. Well, if this is telling me anything, I got like put Spreading Seas back into the 4 Spreading Seas back into the main deck. If it's teaching me anything. Okay, let's get rid of Flooded Strand, attack for 2. Prismatic Vista. Tide Hellsculler, okay. So I guess this could be Eldrazian Taxes, which means we could be up against another Stoneforge Mystic deck. Likely they'll take a Rajiri. I'm just going to tap out for a little while. Give her runes. I do want the Rajiri on the battlefield because there was some chance that my opponent... Okay, so they know about the Trickster. So I have a bunch of tap triggers. Sure, let's use them. Or do I just tap down the Tide Hellsculler? Okay, so now if there's any removal spell, they cannot... If they have Fatal Push, for example, which I don't think they have, it doesn't do anything. Oh, they're taking a giant chunk of damage. Alright, so at their... At their upkeep, I'm going to have effects. Oh, I have to fetch first. Because I can't Well, I can't... Well... Actually, I can target the Giver of Runes. Okay, so, I take it back. I'm not going to have any effects. I can target the Giver of Runes with, like, Rajiri's ability first. make Giver of Runes give something protection, and then I can Merfolk Trickster the other thing, whatever the other thing is. Here's Fulminator Mage, alright. Another Giver of Runes. So we tap Giver of Runes. Oh, not even going to do anything. Okay, yes, tap this. They should have given protection to Tidehallow Scholar, so now I'm going to tap down Fulminator Mage. And now my opponent has to make, in my opinion, some bad blocks with, like, Tidehallow Scholar. I'm going to get the Rajiri back, replay the Rajiri, and then they're, like, in a lot of trouble. Well, maybe they're just dead. Yeah, they're just dead. Doesn't even matter. Sorry, forget everything I said. They're just dead. So this is some sort of black-white taxes deck, I think. We want Path to Exile. We do not want Rest in Peace. We do not want Stony Silence. Probably want Spell Snare. They very likely are running Stoneforge Mystic. We want Spreading Seas. Sword of Light and Shadow looks good because that's protection against their deck. We'll take out all the Force Negations. We'll leave in all these creatures. Is there anything we don't want? Deputy might be good. But they've got Giver of Runes, so we'll take it out. Okay, we'll take out 2 Benthic Biomancers. And we'll put our faith in the Mist-Cloaked Herald. We're still having our faith in Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. We'll keep. Our opponent's already mulliganed down to 5, so we might just win because they've mulliganed to Oblivion. Oh, our 1-drop has arrived. Go Mist-Cloaked Herald, and this could be the game for you because we have a Sword of Fire and Ice on the board. Alright, there's Stoneforge Mystic. Batterskull. So does a Batterskull beat a Sword of Fire and Ice? Is the question. I don't think Trickster can reliably interact by next turn, so I'm just going to go with this. Mist-Cloaked Herald. Looking not too bad right now. And then once we have the Sword of Fire and Ice on this Mist-Cloaked Herald, and then we get the Batterskull on it, it will be unstoppable. Unstoppable. So let's start by attacking with our Mist-Cloaked Herald. Show Trickster, play a Sword of Fire and Ice on the battlefield, and next turn we can equip and also play Merfolk Trickster at the same time. So it'll be very interesting times. It'll be very interesting turn of events. So this is what a mulligan to 5 can look like from our Stoneforge, from a Stoneforge Mystic deck. That'd be a hell of a plot twist if they played Sword of Fire and Ice instead, or any other equipment. It does happen. They look up Batterskull and they're like, boop! Sword of Fire and Ice, deal with it. Alright, looks like they'll take our Batterskull. which is unfortunate because that was our plan to race them. Oh, another one? Oh, Dark Confidant. Okay. Okay. That's going to be an interesting combination. So this will happen. And we can shoot the Tide Hallow. No, well, I think we'll shoot the Dark Confidant first. We have time. We have time to think about like what we want to do. We'll shoot Dark Confidant. That seems like card advantage we don't want to deal with. I have Spell Snare. That's not too bad. And we will pass the turn. Alright, you can take anything from our hand. Entering combat, let's play Merfolk Trickster, tap down the Germ token. Buy ourselves some more time. They have to have a removal spell for this Mistcloaked Herald. Which it sort of looks like they don't. Fulminator Mage, that's not going to do it. Has really has nothing to do with our game at all. We can attack with a few creatures here. Sure, we can attack with Mistcloaked Herald and the Merfolk Trickster. No, maybe not. We'll just leave this behind. We'll kill the Tide Hallow Sculler. Now we draw a card. We draw a Merfolk Trickster. We're going to get our Batterskull back, but I have a feeling our opponent's going to blow up one of our lands. Okay, goodbye to that land. Let's play Aether Vial and pass. So they had Stoneforge Mystic, they had everything, but no good. Oh, I love it when they do that. When they play their land for the turn, emptying their hand, giving me perfect information. I'm just going to Merfolk Trickster your Germ token. Now we can attack for like a billion. That's right. Alright, so we won the match. Mostly off the back. Maybe we've been underestimating the swords all these years. Maybe we could play with a sword in Merfolk. Who needs Stoneforge Mystic? Just play the damn sword. That was pretty good. Let's not forget Mistcloaked Herald actually won us this game because it was unblockable. That might be something I've underestimated in Mistcloaked Herald right now. It's unblockable. We didn't have to worry about it. Had excellent synergy with the Sword of Fire and Ice. We didn't need Island Walk. If we needed Island Walk, we were not getting through this Germ token. Simple as that. Oh, I didn't even notice it. The Sword of Light and Shadow gets through Germ tokens. Alright, it's good to know. Like on this board, you can just attack. You don't have to worry about it. Sword of Fire and Ice does not. We have protection from red and blue, but that's not relevant in this matchup. Alright, so that was our fourth round. We're 2-2 so far. Let's move on to round 5. We won the die roll. Guess this comes down to it. Is Stoneforge Mystic worth it? Alright, let's see. We won the die roll. This is the ultimate test for Stoneforge Mystic. So this hand can be like really bad, really fast. Hex Drinker. So it looks like Jund. which means Stoneforge Mystic is not going to be that great. But maybe we can slow our opponent down. Yeah, let's slow her. My fear is I play Stoneforge Mystic and she just dies. But if we if we attempt to mana screw them, we give ourselves a little bit of a chance to keep Stoneforge Mystic alive. That's not too bad. They'll give us some insurance against Liliana the Veil by turn 3. That's assuming this is Jund. I don't know for sure if it is, but I've seen them like adopt Hexdrinker. At the very least, we can curve into Batterskull. Like, we've got the hand to do that. You didn't see that coming, did ya? Maybe they did. Alright, goodbye, Stoneforge Mystic. I assume she's eating a lightning bolt here. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. We've got the bat. We can curve right into a Batterskull. Okay, this is some red-green deck. Or is it Jund that just doesn't have blue mana? Maybe it's just Jund that doesn't have blue mana. And the Windswept Heath will come back, save them. Oh, it's something. It's some sort of brew. Okay, so Sacred Foundry. It's playing white sources. This is some sort of Naya deck. Naya aggro. Okay, very cool, very cool. And with Ren and 6, this Hexdrinker can eventually become protection from everything. That is sweet. Alright, so we'll play Camera Souls, we'll name Merfolk. And we'll play our beefy Batterskull. So, I don't mind the Germ Token dying, but I do mind the Batterskull getting blown up for some reason. Pillage. Everything I was afraid of there happened. Unbelievable. Well, this is a sweet deck, though. Okay, we're gonna get hit for 8. Alright, we can play everything. Let's play this. Play Stoneforge Mystic, get our other equipment. We've got a Merfolk Trickster, hopefully that we can trick our opponent's Tarmogoyf. But they've got 3 cards in hand. I must say this deck is cool. This deck is cool, so they can go pro everything here. And I have a Sword of Fire and Ice. So I can Trickster the Hex Drinker before it gets to 8. Make them use up their turn, but then I will die next turn. Or I can Trickster it right now. And then not die. And then hopefully I can draw another Trickster and keep tapping it down. I guess that's my only line. I can't let this Hex Drinker get to protection from everything. I will have to chump block the Tarmogoyf. Oh, there's a lot of bad things that can happen here. Okay, so Renin 6 will deal 1 damage to Lord of Atlantis. Ooh, another Renin 6. Okay, I guess it's going to deal another 1 damage to Lord of Atlantis. I have to chump block Tarmogoyf now. Guess I'll chump block with the Sword of Fire and Ice. Sorry, chump block with Stoneforge Mystic, because I can still just cast this Sword of Fire and Ice. Ho ho ho! That is not bad. That's not bad at all. But now I'm still on chump blocking duty with the Tarmogoyf. But it at least gives me an answer to the Hex Drinker. Which is a much bigger deal. So I could kill a Renin 6. But I guess I'm just not. I have to deal with this Tarmogoyf. That was a feel-good moment with that Deputy of Detention. That was a feel-good moment. Alright, we got Bloodbraid Elf. Well, we're dead. Alright, that will do it. Because they can just target me, attack with both the creatures. I have to block both of them, and I have, like, no board. They'll have all the board. That's fine, too. Chump block Tarmogoyf. Hex Drinker's back at it. And we are toast. Alright, we concede. Cool deck, though. Pillage specifically existing for Stoneforge Mystic. It's almost like not playing with Stoneforge Mystic has advantages. So, card that I think we want Rest in Peace. I think that hurts Renin 6's ability to recycle fetch lands. Also hits the Tarmogoyf. We want Path to Exile. We want Spreading Seas. I don't know if Spell Snare is worth it. Hits Renin 6, but... Okay, hits Renin 6 and Tarmogoyf. So maybe we will bring that in. We'll take out Force of Negation. White and black. Does that help? Maybe not enough. Take out some Benthic Biomancers. Is there anything that's particularly terrible? Can I look at this like a Jund deck, or should I look at this like an aggro deck? Yeah, I'll take out 1 Cavern of Souls. Bring in 1 Spell Snare. Bring in... Sort of want more Spell Snares. Okay, we're just gonna run it as that. Keep. It's clunky, but like, whatever. It's clunky, but what are you gonna do? Axe Drinker? Oh, Noble Hierarch. Okay. That's brutally late. But that's fine. We can still play Stoneforge Mystic. Next turn, play a Lord plus Ether Vial. Yeah, assuming Stoneforge Mystic bites the dust. If not, we'll put our Batterskull in play and try to do something with the Batterskull. I mean, there are some advantages to playing a Stoneforge Mystic on turn 2. Your opponent really has to acknowledge its existence. Okay, Stoneforge Mystic, not interacted with. Or, okay, it's gonna, I guess it's gonna die now. Okay, that's not too bad. I find this card acceptable. So that will, that makes Ren and 6 garbage. Everything is useless on this card except the deal 1 damage to any target. That's actually impressive. Yeah, Rest in Peace is a clear answer to Ren and 6. Absolute clear answer. You get an emblem. Instant sorcery cards in your graveyard have retrace. Sure, have all the retrace you want. So I'm not sure what I want here. Another Noble Hierarch. Are they going to pillage my Ether Vial? Which, if they do that, I guess that's okay. No, they're going to go after my Mutavault. I'm going to spend the next few turns putting Lords on the battlefield. I won't play Spreading Seas because it doesn't look like it mana screws them at all. I mean, it would take them off double red for the pillage. See, look what Red and 6 would be doing right now. Cracking Sunbay Canyon, get it back. That's good value. Rest in Peace doing some good work here. Very, very, very good work. Noble Hierarch going to come into the red zone. Sword of Fire and Ice, not bad. I don't know if I need to have my creatures diversified on the battlefield, but just in case I do. I think I'll just attack my opponent. In retrospect, I should probably play the Lord, because if I do that, I do threaten to win the game by next turn. This is okay. Well, not really, but, like, I'll live with it. What does my opponent have in hand? Like, enchantment removal? Okay. Okay, I cannot do anything about that. I'm going to play Spreading Seas, because I will either draw a land, which will help me cast this Batter Skull, or I'll draw a 2-drop, which I can use to cast off my Ether Vomit, but instead I draw the Spreading Seas. On the plus side, I can lock my opponent out of red mana. Okay, there's Tarmogoyf. Or maybe my opponent just has a bunch of Tarmogoyfs in hand, they can't do anything with it. Yeah, here's just a ton of Tarmogoyfs. Just show me what they got. Oh, they're starting to go aggro with this Ren and 6. Ren and 6 aggro. Okay, I'm not going to play this. Would you like to pay 2 life? No. So I'm taking 3 damage a turn at this point. Although I would like to get this Rest in Peace in place, so just in case they have enchantment removal, I've got like a Rest in Peace replacement. 3 damage a turn I can deal with. All these cards are like super hard awkward. Yeah, I can't even play this Mistcloaked Herald this turn. I'll play the Sword of Fire and Ice, I guess. Yeah, I guess. My mana is super awkward. Like, I've got an Ether Vial on 2, but I got a Mirror Rejury on 3. Sorry, yeah, I have a Mirror Rejury on 3. And I gotta start doing something. Like, my life total is starting to get critical. And my opponent can have Path to Exile in hand. There's Hex Drinker. So if I get down to a low enough life total, I'm just super dead. Or I just might be dead by next turn, unless I find a good answer. Specifically, well, okay, now I get this, but this is late. I'm just gonna die. I'm just gonna die. I mean, in theory, I guess I could have played ticked the Ether Vial up, so I can get this Sword of Fire and Ice on it much earlier. How do I can't do anything. I'm just gonna die to the Ren and 6. I have a million cards in my hand, but they are meaningless. It's a funny way to lose a game, to be honest. Yeah, I just lose. Okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I will play Mare Reedry. I'll attach a Sword of Fire and Ice, and I guess I'll just pass the turn. So all they have to do is roll the Hex Drinker up to like 8, level 8, and then Ren and 6 will just deal 1 damage to me and I die. Ren and 6! Even with Rest in Peace on the battlefield, just dealing 1 damage at a time. That's value. What was this, like a 2 mana? Oh, that's interesting. They're respecting something at... Oh no, they're not respecting anything. They can just play... No, but now I can block the Hex Drinker. Okay, I will block this. I live to see another day. Maybe I should have played the Mistcloaked Herald. Oh, they were trying to play around a Trickster this turn? But they don't play around Trickster, right? Okay, now what do I do? This is useless to me! Spreading Seas turned out to be pretty poor. Oh, the Spreading Seas was just awful this game. Anyway, good game. Good game. So, is Stoneforge Mystic worth it in Modern Merfolk? Well, how much differently could I build this deck? I guess I could play it with the Silvergill Adepts. We could, like, get rid of Deputy of Detention and the Mistcloaked Herald, put Silvergill Adept, and it would be more resemblant of a Merfolk deck. And it looks like maybe Sword of Fire and Ice is not the card. Maybe the main deck card should be sort of Light and Shadow. But I don't know, like, it's not part of the game plan at all. Oh, let me get to the deck tech window. It's just not part of our game plan at all. But is it that bad? Maybe we should have been threatening to get the swords, because those are way easier to cast than a Batterskull. Getting to 5 mana still is hard. If I had one more, if I could curve out like 1 turn more against that green-red deck, it could have helped. So Rest in Peace was very good. Path to Exile, we have no idea. Stony Silence, we have no idea, but probably is okay. Spell Snare, you know what? I'm going to say no to this card. We tried it. It's not going to beat Deprive. Deprive just hits everything. I think it's more worthwhile. I don't think it's worth holding this up against Blue-White Control on turn 1. It's not that important. Maybe it's time to just go back all Spreading Seizes. All Spreading Seizes, all Silvergill Adepts in the main deck, given all the... a lot of non-white decks. Or sorry, a lot of non-blue decks in the metagame. Probably the only one is going to be the Blue-White Stoneblade. But... yeah, we were up against, like, we were up against Jund. We were up against Mardu. We were up against Black-White Taxes. And certainly we'll see more Death and Taxes in the future because of the because of the rise of Stoneforge Mystic. But I don't... maybe there's a better build out there that we could play. Maybe there's a better build without the Mistcloaked Heralds, Deputy Detention. Just play Silvergill Adept, add more Mutavaults, take out Cavern of Souls, just play to a more grindy attrition based sort of looking deck, take out Spell Snare, and maybe that would be better. But anyway, this was the playtest for this video. I wasn't particularly satisfied. I mean, some of this stuff helped, but Batterskull never really did anything. Like, let's be serious. We got it on the battlefield, and it's like... just as... but maybe it's also because everyone's overreacting to Stoneforge. Or maybe it's everyone's accurately reacting. We're going to see Kolingin's Command. Apparently we saw Pillage, and there's going to be other various ways of, like, beating down a Stoneforge Mystic and beating a Batterskull, because all they have to do is bolt it, and then it gives your opponent like 4 or 5 turns to put a big board presence to the point where Batterskull doesn't even matter anymore. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the matches. We had a pretty neat deck in round 5. I thought that was pretty cool. That was unique. And just showed that rest in peace. Maybe Blue-White Merfolk has a future. I don't know if Stoneforge Mystic Merfolk has a future. But anyway, this was our match. With all this, we're going to thank all my patrons for supporting me on Patreon. We're also going to thank themanabase.com, the MTG Mastermind, and Card Hoarder for being our sponsors. This is Nikachu playing with Stoneforge Mystic in Merfolk.